Welcome back. Hope you had a great week. Last week, we kind of discussed how we were broke down from the channel. We were below very an important pivot. And we also discussed the importance of this trend line, right? That's been holding a support. So what we saw happen is we saw a break of the trend line, right? As we anticipated, and boom, right? I did not, however, right? I did think we'd sell off, right? To 3560, but the selling has been stronger than if you wanted to be bullish, right? Which could again both be a boon and the curse. So I'll from this point on, there are still multiple paths that are possible. So let's go through the different paths that are possible, right? Both bullish and both bearish, because this was the most expected move. From now on, we kind of have to be a little careful and a little impervious to what is happening in the market. So I mean, I'll on on the ES, right? I pretty much marked both the bearish and bullish paths, right? You can see the channel has been broken. And ever since the main trend channel has been broken, we've just been having a lot of selling, which again is pretty consistent, right? With the bigger picture, bigger picture time frame for this kind of chart, right? Wherein you can see that we still have a little more selling, right? Come down to the wave 3, wave 4 bounce. And again, we still continue to sell, right? That's scenario number 1. Number 2 is one I have been discussing with you guys, right? Wherein this sell-off, right, could just be a wave 4, although it is kind of getting exaggerated. So bulls, I mean, it still could very much be a wave 4. I still can't say with confidence that we're heavily bearish, though everything favors the bears, right? We could have a little more weakness, right, down into this trend line around 4270. And if right, you can see this is where the channel bulls need to strike early, like a little bit of weakness Monday and Tuesday is fine, but like they need to strike early this week, right, and have a very strong reversal. Only then, right, will this wave 5 very likely takes place, right? Otherwise, the most probable path, right, at least for the short term, would be, kind of a sell-off into that 4,000 area. And there is another scenario wherein, like you can see here again, right, if I fib the low to the high, right, we are kind of sitting on the 0.236 fib. So it's kind of what I mean by, whether you're bullish or bearish, right, when we tend to, kind of sit on fib levels, right, we tend to have a bounce. So you would, again, you can draw a channel, right, and you can see that we have been bouncing up and down. So if you are bearish, right, it's pretty simple. Break below 4,300 and, you kind of can continue to sell off to 4270 and 4250, right? Otherwise, if we come down, right, to hold a little bit lower and then we bounce, then, we could be starting a new leg higher. So that is something to keep in mind. And going back to, this, right, there is another path, right? I don't love that path, but this entire thing, right, could be your A wave, right? Your B wave, and we come down for that C wave, right? So that 4,300 area, right? Imagine if this entire thing, right, was your A, your B, and then we go up higher. I mean, yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds ridiculous, but what I'm trying to say is oops, straying from the point, but what I'm trying to say is this entire move, right? This entire move down was your A wave, right? This is your A, this is your B, and then we come down kind of for that contracted C, right? And this entire move is your wave 4, right? All I'm saying is we could be in a bigger ABC, except there is either, right? Either in a bearish scenario, either you're gonna come down, right, to this 3,900 level and then have a massive bounce, right? Contracted wave 4, or if it's a more bearish scenario, right, then we continue selling to that 3,200 before it has to bounce, right? Those are the two bearish scenarios. And the bullish scenario would kind of be, right, we find support relatively early next week, right, heading into October, kind of go sideways and then establish a new leg higher, So yeah, let's kind of see. This too early to say which path we are taking, but yeah, let's take it level by level, right? And dollar, again, we know, right? Again, something to keep a note on is also the fact that, the dollar is against resistance, right? It has not broken out. I go to the daily, we are against supply. So to have any bearish continuation, you would need the dollar to break over 105.8, right? Over that, it should be a smooth sailing process to 107. Otherwise, right, if the dollar rejects like this, right, we just have a reversal and it just comes back to the bottom of the channel, right? In that case, right, at least in the short term, right, again, you can kind of see that we are holding this channel. If the dollar does get rejected, then should also keep in mind that we could again just have an oversold kind of bounce, right, before it goes lower. So that is also something to keep in mind. All right. With that being discussed, right, let's also look at the wicks on the 10-year, right? The wicks again is looking, productive, right? Unlike the dollar, the wicks does look like, the next supply zone is at 21. And we know that again, 18 point, right? This 18.2, 18.3 level is very important, right? Same as the dollar against a little bit of resistance here. If it can break above, should kind of have a relatively smooth right? And the 10-year, again, also, right? We knew that it bounced off the bottom of the channel. Now we're almost to the top of the channel. So it's kind of why it's important to keep an eye on all these indicators. They could lead to a short-term bounce, but if they continue to just destroy resistance, right? And then there should honestly be nothing stopping them. So yeah, would need more confirmation, right? So with all that being discussed, let's look at the watch list for this week. And the first one I have is Meta because I feel like it's not sold off, right? Compared to some of the other stocks like Microsoft, Apple, etc. You can see they've almost retraced more than 0.786, right? Of the most recent move. And again, you can see more than 786. Whereas if you go to Meta, right, you can see that we've not even retraced, right, past the 382.5 pips. So I do think, right, at least to 288, right, whether I'm bullish or bearish, Meta could have that sell, right, to 288. So for me personally, as long as it stays below 300, right, I think it can come to 295, 300, and even 288, 285. So that's the reason I have Meta on this week's watch list. And again, to be bullish, right, this is your downtrend, right, break over 304, 305. And then, yeah, the bear setup would probably invalidate at that point. Let's look at the next one, which is CCJ, right? And again, I have been posting this in Discord for whoever requested, and so far it's just kind of been going on an uptrend, right? And in this market, it's kind of not a lot of bullish setups left. So honestly, if it can stay over $40, right, then I can go to 41, 42, even 43. So looks interesting. No reason pullback shouldn't keep going higher. Out of CCJ, the next one is Costco. Again, the reason for that is kind of has an inside day, so will likely make a big move, right? This week, you can see the range. It's pretty massive on Costco. So for Costco, right, below 560, I could definitely see it, right? Definitely see it come down to this 551 level, right? 551, 560. And to be bullish, you would need over 562, which right now is a task. So that's the reason I have Costco on this week's watch list. And last but not the least, what I have is FedEx. And it did, again, this has the same as Costco, right? It is an inside day, but it could go either direction, right? Because of the range that it's created, almost $10 range day. So yeah, it does have a gap to fill lower, and it does a lot of empty space higher. So here's your bull trigger, right? You would need over 263, right, for FedEx to push to 273, and you would need below 260, right, for FedEx to come down to 250. So either way should make a big move. So it's worth being on the watch list. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day.